Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to News Dose. And despite some of the questions around Xbox and their future with exclusivity, they allegedly are still working hard behind the scenes to sign partnerships for their platform. Well, reportedly, they signed a really interesting contract with a new AAA studio that I think a lot of fans will be very excited about, especially after everything that's happened over the last year. So we're going to get into all of that here in just a second. And then we also got some news for PlayStation as well. They recently announced a great addition to their PlayStation Plus catalog. And then on top of that, we also got some new information about a very welcome game that's going multi-platform possibly sometime here soon. So do make sure to stay tuned for all of that. But yeah, let's just go and get right into this Xbox partnership. So this is coming from Xputer, and according to them, Xbox reached an agreement with the Batman Arkham Trilogy creators and their new studio 100 Stars to work on a brand new AAA game. Yeah, this is actually really interesting stuff, and you can see here it says 100 Star was created by Rocksteady co-founders and is based in London and has about 100 employees. The studio is working on its first ever project, which is a AAA action-adventure single-player game. Xbox Game Studios Publishing is also involved and has signed a partnership with 100 Stars for the project. So typically when Xbox Game Studios Publishing is involved, that basically means whatever they're working on is being built exclusively with Xbox in mind. And as of right now, from everything that we currently know, Xbox is working on a next-generation console that's allegedly going to release sometime in 2026. So the assumption, based on the knowledge that we have in 2024, is that this game will be a next-generation title for whatever their next console is, and it will also come to Xbox Game Pass day one. Now, that's kind of the thing here, though, because this game is still years away. 100 Stars was formed back in 2023, so, we're probably talking about another 4 years at the very least before we get it in our own hands. So, who knows what will happen before then, but I think the exciting part about this story is really just the essence of this new studio itself. The game that they're working on is being described as a AAA single-player action-adventure game built on Unreal Engine 5. And I think that if you're a fan of the Batman Arkham games, that its own is very, very exciting, especially after the release of Suicide Squad just earlier this year. I know a lot of people were very disappointed in that game, and we can kind of go over all of the different reasons as to why people didn't like Suicide Squad. But one of the big sticking points, even before its release, was that it's a live service game. A lot of people were very upset about that because that's not what they wanted from Rocksteady. They wanted a game more similar to the Batman Arkham games. And that's where this new studio kind of comes in. In a way, 100 Stars DNA is connected to Rocksteady. It comes from the Rocksteady co-founders. And now that they've gone independent, they can now do things their own way, and that's to focus on a single-player action-adventure game like they used to. This is what fans wanted, and that's what they're going to get from this brand new studio. So Xbox is going to foot the bill here, and then 100 Stars will chip away on that new single-player game. Now, speaking of Xbox, though, I do understand that there's questions about their future and what they want to do, but I'll say this much. If you look at their first-party lineup, because they have all of these different studios now, they have Activision Blizzard, they have Bethesda, but something else that we are seeing from them is that they are being aggressive when it comes to these high-profile partnerships. We've heard about various different rumors, but then we also have the confirmed project with Hideo Kojima. That's a huge signing for them. And now this here as well. 100 Stars, I'd say, if anything, is noteworthy because there is potential based on what we've seen from Rocksteady in the past. Who knows if that will translate to this new studio, but hey, we're going to see what happens here in due time. But I actually really like Xbox's strategy here. I think it's a smart idea to bet on a studio like this. Let me know what you all think about all of this, though. Are you excited about this idea or not? I'd say for me, in terms of excitement, it's still a little too far out for me to say anything like that. But I do understand that there's some hardcore Batman Arkham fans out there. So I want to hear from you all. Let me know what you all think about this report. Now, as for PlayStation, though, one of the big knocks for their PlayStation Premium tier is that they don't really offer enough classic games, which is, kind of the draw for this specific tier. It typically gets PSP and PlayStation 1 games, but that's going to change going forward. They are now expanding to PlayStation 2 games as well, and on June 11th, we will get some of those games, including Tomb Raider Legend, Star Wars Clone Wars, and the big one here being Sly Cooper. It was actually really cool to see Sly Cooper randomly trend on Twitter the other day, and it was all because of this announcement here. It's just really cool to see Sly Cooper return in 2024, and that's the thing about this series. We haven't seen a brand new Sly Cooper game since the PlayStation 3, but I still view this series as an important part of PlayStation's history. It is an iconic series. If you think about it, the PlayStation 2 is not only PlayStation's most popular console, but it's also just the most successful console ever made. And Sly Cooper was an important release for that console. It was very popular back then. And now, after all of these years, we will be able to play it on the PlayStation 5. Now, I imagine it will have a better resolution and probably some other improvements as well, and maybe even trophy support. We'll see how all that plays out, but if they want to go in that direction, technically, Sly Cooper already has trophies through the HD re-release on the PlayStation 3 and the Vita. So it's not like it'll be the first time ever for Sly Cooper trophies, but it would be the first time ever for Sly Cooper on the PlayStation 5. This would make it a lot more accessible, if anything else. For that matter, and I've said this before, but we need more high-quality, child-friendly games, and Sly Cooper is perfect for that. This is a great game for the entire family. Nonetheless, though, I'm really glad to see PlayStation games make their way back to the PlayStation 5. Not only does it make PlayStation Plus Premium more interesting, but it really just kind of opens up their library to a ton of games, because the PlayStation 2 has a treasure trove of games to choose from. We're talking about games like Eco, which we haven't seen in a long, long time. I love that game. Then there's the old Ratchet & Clank games, or even the original God of War 1 and 2. There's just so many great games to choose from on the PlayStation 2, and it'll be really exciting to see what they bring over next. Now, one last thing that I want to talk about here, though, is something that I'm actually very excited about, and that's the possibility that Fantasian could come to more platforms sometime here soon. Now, if you don't know what this game is, this is a JRPG developed by Mistwalker, the studio behind Lost Odyssey and Blue Dragon. Those are great games. Definitely go check those out. And one reason that those games are so great is because Mistwalker is led by the father of Final Fantasy, Hironobu Sakaguchi. In fact, you might notice that Fantasian shares a lot in common with those old classic Final Fantasy games, such as Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9, or even really Lost Odyssey, which, I have always viewed as a true spiritual successor to those games. They all have those set backgrounds with just great turn-based gameplay. The only problem about Fantasian, though, is that it's been exclusive to Apple Arcade these past few years. So despite its positive reception, a lot of people just don't know about it. Well, that might all change sometime here soon. It was first spotted last year on Steam Database that it might come to other platforms, and now, according to Midori, she teased an Apple Arcade title will be announced for multiple platforms sometime here soon. Now, you might be wondering why I'm assuming the title she's referring to is Fantasian, and well, that's because she flat out revealed it herself in a response to somebody guessing that Fantasian will be announced at the Nintendo Direct in June. So, there you go. It looks like we will get an official announcement for Fantasian at that Nintendo Direct, whenever that will be, which to me, I think is super, super exciting. I'm a big fan of Hironobu Sakaguchi's work, whether that be with Square Enix or with Mistwalker. I guess the big questions, though, is that if this does get confirmed, which platforms will Fantasian go to? It looks like at the bare minimum, it will be on Nintendo and Steam, but I guess we'll have to just kind of wait and see if that includes PlayStation and Xbox as well. But nonetheless, it is great to hear that it is getting away from Apple Arcade, because Mistwalker, truthfully, deserves better. I'll say this much, though. I really do hope that Mistwalker makes their next game for core consoles first and foremost. Anyways, though, that's going to be it for this episode. But as always, do hit that subscribe button. And until next time, peace out.